is up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Blood Splatter Chatter, doing some bonus blood, doing a brand new, well, freshly released on Peacock 2025 horror flick, doing Drop, directed by Christopher Landon. He of the Happy Death Day, with me and Steph both love 1 and 2. He did Freaky. He did We Have a Ghost, which I haven't seen. I know you saw it. And he was actually one of the key orchestrators of the paranormal. I always forget this. One of the key orchestrators of the Paranormal Activity franchise, where he had written, I think, like a bunch of them. He had a hand in writing, like the first four, and then he directed part five. Don't quote me on that, but he had a big hand in Paranormal Activity.
Was it the marked ones?
Yes, he
Okay,
directed the
okay.
marked ones. Which is one that had kind of the superhero twist.
Yeah,
Which is it's kind of indicative of his style. We talked about it when we did Happy Death Day, but he's a big like blender of genres. He likes to take
absolutely.
two or three genres, blend them together. This has a hint of that. It's
Yeah.
kind of a home invasion movie. It's kind of a mystery dinner party thriller type
It's
movie.
yeah, yeah, it's got, and it's definitely got those you know what it reminded me of, with their separate movies, but it like Red Eye and Enemy of the State a little bit
Okay,
with Will
yeah,
Smith. I kind of got
yeah,
a little bit of the, it's got, but no, I like his style because, like you said, he likes to take different genres and blend them together in like a
hmm,
way, in an entertaining way. I was gonna, sometimes,
right.
they don't always land, but I respect that he's always trying to do something, put a twist on something.
Right. It's usually nothing like overly like crazy and inventive
Yeah.
and new. It's all things that we've seen, but just in a way that we've never seen them for the most part.
Yes. Yes.
Happy Death Day. That's one of my favorite. And Freaky. Freaky's one that we haven't covered that we'll have to get to.
Oh, we haven't covered Freaky.
No.
We've just talked. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've mentioned it because we've done it, yeah, a few Christopher Landon movies in the past. But this one, for those that haven't seen it, haven't heard of it, don't know the premise, basically this woman that has recently lost her husband. He was an abusive person. He killed himself, you find out right in front of her. And she goes out on a first date with this person at this fancy restaurant in the Chicago high-rise restaurant, and she starts getting these drops on her phone, and she finds out that her son is at home with the babysitter, her sister, being held hostage unless she kills her date, which is a pretty damn solid setup. I didn't even know it was exactly that. Before watching it, all I knew is that she was out to eat and she's getting these drops, and I didn't know quite the direction that it went. But it's one of those that I thought it's really well made. I think as far as like the look of it and everything and the writing, it's tight. It's not I don't like it as much as Happy Death Day. It doesn't have as much of the horror comedy elements as most of her previous stuff does. As
Yes.
Madison decides to show up right off the bat. But I really enjoyed it. I watched it with my wife. I'll just say this: as much as I enjoyed it, you know me, I always like to watch a movie twice. And I watched it again today, and it was like it didn't make for a really great rewatch. At least a couple days apart. Maybe spread it apart a couple years and rewatch it again. But there's some movies like another murder mystery type thing. I could watch Scream every day of the week and have no
Yes.
issue. But there was something about this where it was like I didn't enjoy it nearly as much on the rewatch. But as I get my wife to help me with this child, go ahead and tell me
All right.
what'd you think, bro?
I'm right there with you. I enjoy this. I'm a fan of this director's style. But this one, I was it. I think you said it best. It makes for a great first watch. That it's a great popcorn flick. But it didn't stick with me. And when I mentioned about sometimes this director's ideas don't necessarily land, this is the
Hmm.
only one I could really. This is what I'm like referring to
Okay, yeah.
right here. His other movies, they're not perfect, but it's like I find that there's like this one. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I haven't seen this before, but there's not as much of a twist in this
Yeah.
one. His other movies had a little bit more charming characters and daring characters. I guess like
Yeah.
there's a charm to them that this one kind of lacked.
Is this the only one that he's done that isn't a horror comedy? Marked
Yes,
Ones
I
wasn't,
think
but
so.
I feel like Marked One was one of the funnier in the
Yeah, and
Paranormal Activity franchise. Like this is
it's
there's some humor, but it's not a horror comedy. It's a thriller
no,
mystery.
yeah, and the fact that it's like it's got the teenagers, and it's kind of like it's like a horror chronicle. If you Chronicle, have you seen that?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Like when it came out, I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of like that with, like, so there's like the blend. This one, there's still a blend going on, but it's less room for, I guess, because of the nature of what's going on. I guess less time for jokes, but it is a very the pacing's tight. You know, well shot. You're never confused as to
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. I will give him credit. Like I wasn't really sure as to who was the
Doing the
culprit.
drops. Which,
Yeah,
by the way, let me throw that out there now. Since this is a mystery, we will be spoiling that, but not till the end. We'll spoil pretty much everything that leads up to the big reveal up until that point, but we'll give you a nice spoiler warning before we give you the big reveal at the end, which is important for this movie. You don't want to know who it is.
yeah, yes, and that when they finally revealed it, I was kind of like, I wish I would have looked into that. I the character
Well, let's get
that
to it.
and it's
Save it. Save
okay,
it. We'll get to
all right,
that at
all
the
right,
end.
all right.
I'm
But no, overall, I enjoyed it. I think it is. I think I was wondering if we would have it would have made like a good like date move. Did it come out on Valentine's Day?
No, I think you're thinking of Hard Eyes, which came out right around Valentine's Day. It might have, but I don't think it did. I think it came out
This
a
one,
couple months
it would
after.
have kind of. I think it would have fit with that motif. Like, it's got the young, not young love, but
Right,
it's fun though. It's that whole getting to know. At one point, I thought maybe it's even the dude. Like, this is some
right,
weird manipulation game. But no, I enjoyed it overall. But it didn't stick with me like his other films. I was maybe it's expectations, because like
right.
you said earlier, we're a fan of his. We keep a lookout for his other works,
Hmm.
and I was after seeing his other stuff and really loving it. I think maybe my expectations were super high.
Right.
But
I was
it's a
wondering if
solid
you went
movie.
into it knowing that it was his, if you had like seen that, or you know what I mean. You
Yeah,
you went into it knowing it was a Christopher Landon movie.
yeah,
You mentioned the red herrings. Like I said, I went into it not knowing it was going to be what it was. I didn't realize it was going to be such a mystery
right.
type of a setup, and I was instantly like, oh, okay, cool. I was like a little bit more into it once the camera starts panning around at all the different people that she'd met. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is like a dinner party mystery thriller kind of a thing. And
Hmm.
I thought they did a pretty good job of like, oh, it could be any one of these people.
Yeah,
She's getting these airdrops and they're all on their phone, which makes perfect sense, easy to believe. But I thought
it makes
the setup was really good. Where the movie almost lost me, like we've talked about this before, like 'cause it also has a little bit of like cringe horror elements to it, like we've talked about, like where the person is embarrassing themselves. Like
hmm
she gets set in a situation where like, oh shit, I have to act a certain way, but I can't let my date know why I'm fucking being so weird. So there's all these moments where I'm like, oh my god, you're acting like a jackass, and it was starting to get to me, but it didn't. You know what I mean? I think that says more about me than it says about the movie. But I settled into it, and I was able to deal with that aspect of it. But
survival, bro. You got things you'll do to survive.
did you know either of the main two actors? She was from White Lotus. She was in that like I haven't seen it, but evidently it's a pretty popular television series amongst some other things that she's done. Megan Faye, and then Brandon Sklenar, the date. He was in a movie recently that my wife really loved called
Not drama.
It Ends with Us with Blake
Yeah.
Lively. And then he was in 1923, which is a spin-off of what's that show? Yellowstone? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Kevin Costner. Yeah.
You familiar with him, or either of these
I
two, or either the rest of the cast?
not super familiar. I've seen I'm just actually starting White Lotus myself. I'm
Okay.
like first three episodes. The dude I've seen through like the internet. I knew
Mm.
of him because of the drama between for that movie. This Ends with Us. Like, there's a lot of background drama.
Oh, is that what the? Yeah, I heard something
Yeah.
about Blake Lively, some things I didn't give a shit about. But yes, I know
And
that there was drama
there
involving
was
her.
just like a lot of red carpet shots of them, and I seen that dude in the background next to
Hmm.
them. So I was like, oh, he must be in the movie. But that's about as far as I feel like he reminds me of another actor I've seen. His name's like Glenn something. He's like he was in the new Top Gun movie. He was like that. He was like the new Rooster, or not Rooster, but he was like the young dickhead to Tom Cruise's character. If you've seen him, like the hot shot, with the blonde hair, and they remind me of each other a bit.
In the
But
new
I don't.
Top Gun?
Yeah,
Oh no, no,
yeah.
I haven't seen the
Oh,
new Top
okay,
Gun.
okay.
I was never an old Top Gun fan. For whatever reason, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah, I can see
rewatch
that.
it before Maverick comes out, and I'm like, no, I still don't fucking like this movie. Never been able to get into it. The speaking of the internet and the along with the cast, I was sitting there trying to figure out like how the hell do I know this little kid, her son, cute little kid with the glasses. He reminds me of the son from Haunting of Hill House. Just cute
Oh,
kid with the thick glasses, but like you can't even find him in the cast. I'm like, who is this kid? But he's like an internet personality, which is kind of weird to say for a little kid. But he has a lot of
really?
like viral reels and stuff like that of like his parents have taken of him, and he'll do like interviews on the red carpet. I saw bits or clips of him like interviewing Rihanna and stuff. So I don't know what the kid's got going on, but that's what I know him from.
That's
People out there,
that's
if you're trying to figure out who this kid is, it might be that internet reels and shorts.
wow. That's cool though. Made segued that into a movie position. He's got his first little movie role. Shout out to that kid. But no, the cast was charming, but I don't think there was anybody like even the culprit. I was like, have I seen him in something before? Like maybe I
Hmm.
haven't. But there are a lot of there's no a list. Not that
Right,
a lister is going to make or break this, but I think that works in this favor where you're not drawn to the star power of
right.
this actor. You're just taking them as the characters that there are, and good cast.
I thought she was fantastic. Again,
Yes,
Megan Faye, she's got to do a lot of things. She's got to be charming with this new date, but then she also is, you got a lot of panic on her face. She's got to switch back and forth from being charming to the date and like freaking out about what the situation at home.
she
But
conveyed it well.
I'll bring it up to you, or I said it to you. I watched. I'm like, man, this chick sounds like Courtney Cox. Just like something about her voice. She's got like a very breathy kind of like
Yeah.
female
Yes.
smokers kind of
Yep.
voice. And then I just kept on picturing Courtney Cox in the role. I'm like, she would have been perfect for this. She's just like a
Yes.
blonde Courtney Cox, but this she did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed her. Did you hear it though? You heard the Courtney Cox of it all a
I
little bit?
I yeah. Like you said, the I was almost hit you up. I'm like, yeah, I can hear the cocksness. It's almost like not that there's a you not cocksness. The Courtney Cox personality. It it's not like they have a deep voice, but I was gonna say it was like rough. But you said it best. It's very breathy.
Hmm.
There's an air scratch to it.
Right.
Um, but I kept thinking, seeing this movie, like this, like I told you last night, I was like, I almost looked at it from the point of view, like, I wonder if this started off as like a Gale spinoff,
Yeah.
where Dewey's dead. We're gonna look at Gale's POV for a
That's
second.
funny.
She's going on a date, but because she's a known personality, it'd be easy for her to get like the drops and shit like that. Because like, oh, that's fucking Gale. She's on a date.
She was gonna, or Christopher Landon was gonna direct the newest Scream movie until
I
all that
wish he
stuff
would.
happened, all that controversy. Dude, the more I watch it, because at first I was like, no, I like him, but I didn't want him for Scream. And then, like, this is like his most serious film. It's not a super serious
Yes.
film, but it is his
Yeah.
most serious film that he's dealt with. Although there's serious themes in the other stuff. Remember we talked about when we did Happy Death Day? Like his dad was the lead actor, the dad from Little House on the Prairie. Sorry, I forget his name. Super
Right.
crazy famous actor back in the day. And he had all these like father issues with him, and he kind of
Mhm.
he died when Christopher Landon was pretty young. And then reading that and then watching Happy Death Day 1 and 2, there's all this stuff about
That's it.
these dad issues, or that was a
Mhm.
dead mom issue in Happy Death Day. In Freaky, it was the father had passed away.
Yep. Yep.
So like in this one, I was looking for it, and it seems like, well, I guess there is a dead husband in this,
Beginning.
but it
Yeah.
was different. It was seemed like
Yeah.
maybe he'd kind of worked through some of that trauma with the
It
other
wasn't.
films, and he'd moved on from that
Yeah.
theme.
Yes, because like you said, in previous films, it was definitely like that was like the backdrop. There's like a theme going on with this. And this one, it's briefly there is at the beginning hints or notes of it, but it's not the focus. Like you
Right,
said, it felt like he has worked through some of that.
right.
Which I
Before it
mean,
was about the trauma of the loss and the grief. This it's
right?
about the trauma,
Yes.
the from a different way, like getting out of an abusive relationship. And that's the big theme that runs through. I don't know if they explored it as well as they could. I don't know if that really is his strong suit. Oh, maybe it is a strong suit, but with this one, I don't think they did it as good as they did in Happy Death Day or Freaky, where they got to the root of the theme that they had.
I I almost felt because this one is such a like because it's this one has less room. I don't know, because I'm thinking of Happy Death Day, Freaky, and I'm thinking of like there's scenes for them to be laid back and learn more about the character. This one is
Hmm.
very tightly paced. Like we can only
Right.
learn so much at a certain time, and maybe because that's like his first foray into this type of movie, he's like still learning
Hmm.
the
It's harder to
grooves
do.
of it.
That's a great
Yeah.
point. It's all set in one room basically.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, this was I had to look it up, and it's one of those things like, oh, I almost didn't want to know that. Filmed all in Ireland. It's set in Chicago in this high rise. They built the entire restaurant in a studio in Dublin, Ireland, and then the entire Chicago skyline backdrop, which looks amazing,
Yeah.
is all green screen and added in digitally later. Isn't that crazy? I
Wow.
mean, I should have known
Yes.
it when I looked it up, but that
I
that
I
that building in the back is known. I can't forget the actual name of it in Chicago, but it's nicknamed the Diamond Building, and
the
it's like
diamond.
per. I love the look of it, like in the background of the majority of the movie. Like it just looks really cool.
Ireland, I straight thought this was shot in the States, man. That's and now you got me wondering if some of the support characters, like the waiter or anybody who was
Right,
like a local actor.
foreign,
Yeah.
probably most of them. You know what I mean? It's like that's what
Damn.
you normally get. Is everyone? Yeah, a bunch of people faking American accents these days. I thought you mentioned the style of it. I feel like this is something I say a lot for anything that's kind of set in one room, but it did feel cinematic and not stagey. It's not
Yes.
like I thought it was real like gorgeous. There's some like they're at this fancy restaurant, so like the style of the cinematography was like very classy. A lot of like really elegant shots and just like one thing that really stuck out to me, you remember right before he was about to take the shot where she's like trying to poison him or like we think maybe she's going to poison him. It was the first time that they had used this really wide angle lens and they put it right in his face. And just like little things like that, switching the lenses, like you could easily go unnoticed, but that's what made it like continue to feel fresh and not stagey. Is just like keep on changing the lenses and doing unique stuff so it felt bigger than what it was really going on.
And it was adding to like the tension of like the scene, because that scene in particular, there were like it was a lot of close-ups to read
Yeah.
the subtle little facial expressions and things like the micro expressions. One thing you reminded me of, where it's shout out to her, the actress doing a great job, because one thing that really stood out to me that was super awkward, but I think she handled it so well. Like, what do you do in that situation where she like tries to change the tables, but then they tell
Yes,
her to go
God.
back in,
That's
and
when I
she's like,
was like
"Oh,"
at my most peak cringe. I was like, "Oh God, you're making an ass of yourself."
because at that point it's like even the dude and the waiter is like, at that point you start to feel secondhand cringe, like what is going on with this
Right.
girl without me having to blatantly call something this weird, like, and even the waiter's a little kind of like, all right, like, what do you say, something like, here we go again, or like, but
Right.
hope we better luck at this table, or back to table one.
Okay. He was, by the way, I thought he was one of the highlights of the cast. His name is Jeffrey
Yes.
Self. He's an American
So
actor and writer, evidently. Been in a handful of things. Jeffrey and Cole Casserole, whatever the hell that was, Search Party, Gay of Thrones, which I thought he was great, wasn't he? Like,
he's hilarious. When he first walks up and he's like introducing himself and he starts going on about, he's like, yeah, I'm not really aware. This is just like a side gig. I'm really an actor. And he's like, and as this employer or employee or coworker walks by, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll see that the lady's
right.
taken care of, sir. What will you have to drink?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
back to business.
I love it. He we talked about this before. Christopher Landon being a gay man, and if you look back at his other films, he's always sprinkling like gay characters in his movies, which a lot do. I had just said this to you recently. Do you, and this is controversial, but fucking bear with me, be cool. Do you feel like the token comedic relief black guy has been replaced by the token comedic relief gay guy? I very much think that they have. And bonus points if the gay guy is black. Then you're
You know what? I it's such a hard case to argue, because I immediately I was like, "Eh," but something popped in my head when you said that. It's like with the movie we both really enjoyed recently with the Finn directed movie. I forget what it, not Wet Hot American,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
horror summer movie.
What the fuck was that called?
Why that's bro? It was bugging me too, because I was like, why is this? Why am I not be? It's something with
I'll
summer. Hell of
pull
a
it up.
summer.
Hell of a summer. Yes, hell of a
Okay,
summer.
I knew it was something with summer. I kept thinking of Wet Hot American Summer, even though I know it's a comedy.
Right.
Um, But yeah, even in that movie, they had the token sassy. gay character, the actual,
Right.
the drama dude. Um,
They lend themselves to comic relief. Werewolves
yeah,
Within. You've got, I mean, don't get me wrong, that was a comedy where like most people were funny, so I guess. But you did have the funny gay guy there. But like that's what in the past, the token black comic relief character is criticized, probably rightfully so, by being just a stereotype and like boiling them down to just that,
just
right?
that,
Just
yeah.
just the comic relief. And it's like, oh, that's wrong to do. It's like, well, now I feel like they've just replaced it with the gay guy, but I tend to enjoy it. I've always enjoyed, you know what I mean, the comic relief gay guy.
Yeah, I mean, and I within it, well, I think with certain in those directors' cases, they're trying to. It was, not to get too deep into it, but white back in those days, white director
Mm-hmm.
probably going to pick white cast. And then, with Christopher Landon being a gay man, it's understandably he'll hire have
Right.
more roles for himself to, not himself, but gay people to see themselves. Like, there
Mm-hmm.
are roles for, gay people and black people. They don't have to be just the quota stereotype just to fit in the
Right.
background, just to have them there. Like, they can have personality. They can be real. They are real people. They can be real characters. And I think that's because, yeah, the waiter is probably the most character we get out of anybody beyond the main
Mm-hmm.
cast in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, because even the waitress, there was the bartender, the chick.
Mm-hmm.
She had a few scenes, but she didn't resonate or stay. She didn't have any personality like the
Right.
waiter
Just a
did.
little, yeah, a little. But everybody was enough memorable.
Yes,
Everybody was like the little interactions that the main character had with them leading up to the reveal were memorable enough to be like, okay, and they would flash to them enough to make them legitimate red herrings,
I
but
do.
not to
Okay,
where you
well, let
can
me
like really
just.
break her down, her character down, or anything.
Okay, remember when she's getting on the elevator at the beginning to go to the date? She's boarding then there's a couple kissing. She kind of like gives him a weird look, not too weird, but it was this dude and this yeah. I need to shout this out. It was a black chick with curly hair, and they
Mm-hmm.
go in the elevator. She goes up there. Then when we get to the bar, her bartender is a black chick with curly hair,
Yeah.
and so she goes into the bathroom at one point. Our main character throughout the movie after this, and there's the black chick with curly hair, and she's like
Really?
looking at her, giving her a weird look, and because the ladies put on lipstick, but I myself was confused. I was like, is that the waitress or is that the bartender
Mm.
or was that because I had to? I was
Was
confused.
it
I
the
was like,
same
okay,
person she saw in the elevator, or there was three black chicks with curly hair?
no, it was the chick she saw in the
Okay.
elevator. But at first I thought it was like, okay, so I guess the chick was about to start work, so she's saying bye to her boyfriend, and she's getting on
Mm.
the elevator to go bartend. And
Right.
so the when the chick on the date popped in the bathroom, I was so thrown off. I was like, how did she? Why is she in her? She was just in
Right.
her work clothes. Like so they. I was a little confused right there, with the whole why even show the couple or her looking at the couple. I mean, I guess inquire her or they were trying to say she's paranoid, raise suspicion on all the characters around her, but it did throw me off a little bit.
Right.
It did.
I feel like let's go ahead and give a spoiler warning because again, this is a murder
Okay.
mystery kind of thing, not murder mystery, but that sort of thing where there's a reveal at the end, kind of Scream style as to what's going on. And so I'll give a little spoiler warning because we're going to start talking about the reveal and some of the stuff surrounding that. So spoiler warning, which we had just like three people jump in. So I'll spoiler warn again. Spoiler warning. I'm going to spoil the end of this movie. So what we find out is the guy that she met right when she got there, that was on a blind date, which of course he's the one that approached her and
Hmm.
initiated the interaction. We find out that it's him. He wants her date is an FBI informant, and he works for the mayor. He's taking pictures of, I assume, the mayor's shenanigans that he's got going on. Is that the way you read it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why he set her up to kill him. And they kind of, because my initial thought is like, why not just kill him? There's got to be a billion better ways to
Very
kill this guy.
extravagant. Yes.
Yeah, than to do all this. The reason, the movie's reason, I don't know if it works or not. It kind of doesn't. The movie's reason is that she was under suspicion of killing her husband before. So they're going to try to sell it to the media basically that the Black Widow strikes again and kills her date after killing her husband. Whatever. Whatever. I guess I
Yeah.
buy that. But his reveal, I did like him. I liked him as a character. He was really disarming when you meet him, which should have been a clue that
Red
he
flag.
is the
Yes.
killer. He's too nice. But it's the same thing with the date the whole time.
Yeah.
The date is charming enough. The guy, I forget his name, the actor's name, but the date is charming enough that you're like, dude, if it ends up being this guy, I'm gonna be bummed out because
No,
I'm already kind of have a crush on this guy by the end of
I
it.
was like, bro, I could totally see him doing some Patrick Bateman shit on his free time. You know, like
Hmm.
he's very, yeah, even more charming than Patrick Bateman. You know, he's up there. He's a very understanding, handsome dude. He's very, like, what more could you want? There's got to be something wrong with this motherfucker. You know, he's the killer. This is how he gets his rocks
Right,
off. He sets up these blind dates, lures them into this weird. That's where I thought it was going at one point. I was
right.
like, maybe this is just some weird get off for him. You know,
They
The
could have
cat and
they
mouse.
could have leaned into it a little bit more. There's one moment in the movie where she starts to like suspect him a little bit more, remember? And it's almost a
Yes.
little bit unprompted, but she's like, "Why did you reach out to me originally on the dating app?"
Hmm.
And his answer was so sufficient that I was like, "Ah, there's no way he's the killer." His answer should have been a little bit more. They could have made you be even more suspicious of him.
They did go out of their. I mean, I guess because they did their job at making you not really. You're thinking it could be anybody, But
Right.
I guess they at this point, a certain point, want to let you know, like he's off the hook. Like it is
Right.
still tense, but this guy, he's on the money. But I wish I think that they could have had more fun with that, where it's almost like her mind's playing against her because she's so paranoid, where it's like he's just being genuine, but
Mhm.
because she's so paranoid and on edge that she's taking everything, it's like they could have had some fun scenes with that, but they didn't do bad. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
he was trying.
No, no, exactly. They didn't go, but that's just. I felt like they could have made me even more suspicious of him
Yes,
because
yes.
it's set up for that, obviously. Um, uh, the other thing, just like, and we'll get deeper into the actual full reveal and all that. But one thing is, how did the killer or whatever that's what we'll call him? How did the guy that's orchestrated this whole thing? How did he get that $20 bill into her food? She does that shit with the piano player, writes hostages at 27 blah 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 street. First of all, way too fucking hard to read. Could not barely read that. It's like make that a lot more clear what that is on that bill.
I thought it was like, does this say help or what the shit am I reading
Yeah,
right here? It was so
right.
much. Yeah.
We had to rewind it, and then we're on Peacock. I'm like, my wife's like, pause it, and I go to pause it, and what Peacock does, I don't know how often you're on Peacock, but Peacock has a setup when you pause it on there, after like 2 seconds, it goes to an ad. Ads start flashing on the screen. First of all, smart of them in some ways, but also
Yeah.
super annoying, especially in that moment. It's like, oh my god. So we had to rewind it again and wait for it to get there and pause it real quick and read it again. But how did he get back in the kitchen? You know what I mean?
There was that it's you do have to like lend yourself to a suspension of disbelief, because there are a few moments where I was just like, okay, because he's under the guise if he's there on a blind date. Well, he is his blind date actually thought he was there to be on a date as well, but really it's just his cover story. But
Right,
it's like, how is he MacGyvering all this? Like, how is he intercepting all this at the same time?
right,
How is he intercepting? Because it's not like she tried to reach out to just one person. There's a few people she tried to reach out to,
right.
and he's intercepting her at every
How is he doing it
level.
all with the date there too?
That
Which
that's
the date leaves, so I guess you know what I was thinking? Like we just see the date leave. Now that we know who this guy is, like how evil he is, what was he saying to that date to get her to leave? He could have been saying some
when
wild,
she, yeah.
right, raunchy shit. I want to bug over on that table. But I'm so like I said, we find out Henry's an FBI informant. They do a little switcheroo where it looks like she does poison him, and he's about to do this shot. I really loved like the camera shot when they do a
Mhm.
little flashback and showing no, when he was taking that shot, the culprit, all eyes were on the shot to make sure it went in, and that's when she snuck the poison into his dessert. I really,
Is it?
really enjoyed that. Their whole Yahtzee bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of cheesy, but I liked it. She's like, I'm playing chess. What are you playing? Yahtzee? And then when she
Yeah.
gets them, she says Yahtzee. And
I
I
would
kind of loved it. It was super cheesy,
Nazi
but I loved it.
bitch.
Yeah.
Um,
Did she say
that
bitch?
reminded
Because
me.
that's what I wanted to say.
No, it's
Is that
anytime it's if like not the first. I think it's the first episode. It's Always Sunny. Charlie is he Charlie finds this black chick, and and he's trying to date, for fans of the show, he's trying to date the waitress, and the waitress, accidentally says something that has the waitress thinking that he's racist. So in order to prove that he's not racist, he goes and finds a black chick that is attracted to Charlie, and Charlie only wants the waitress, so he's like, he only dates the chick to try
To
to
get
like,
the
look, I'm
waitress.
not racist, you know. But he's at one point in the scene, he's like, him and Mac, either I forget the premise of the episode, but they're trying to get more diversity into the bar. And so they go to a black area of the neighborhood, and Mac's like, "Dang, why do they like you and not me?" Like, you know, and because Charlie's getting along with everybody, and at one point Charlie's like playing Yahtzee with a group of black people, and he's, you know, Max over there in the corner being jealous, and Charlie's like, he wins, and Charlie's like, he slams it down, he's like, Yahtzee biatch, and it's just that always comes in my head anytime I hear Yahtzee.
That's funny because
Yeah.
I forgot all that, but for whatever reason, when I just said Yahtzee, I wanted to say Yahtzee, bitch, like in almost like a Dave Chappelle voice. But anyway, I liked that. I wanted to point out that I had to Google this. She ends up yada yada yada. She poisons the guy. He goes off. Bullets get fired, and a shot gets busted out of the window. She takes the date's gift to her husband, this hockey puck, chucks it out the window. It ends up breaking, and he gets sucked out. So I had to look up, like, could that happen?
I also wondered that myself.
Evidently, it could happen. Like at first, I'm like, is it a vacuum? Like what is it? And it's like, no, it's not. That's not what it is. It's the difference in pressure from inside the restaurant to that height in a skyscraper. When a window busts open like that, it could cause strong winds. So it is feasible, like sucking things towards the window. So
Shit.
that is an actual thing that could happen, like him getting
And he was
sucked
on
out.
the edge. I will give him that much. Like,
Right.
especially if you're right next to the window. Okay, because I was like, and then I'm thinking like, when she threw the hockey puck, I was expecting it to shatter and him getting sucked out. And so
Right.
when they had the little moment where he's like, "You missed," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, she did, bro," because she didn't even hit you. Like, I don't know what she was expecting, but that did have me. I'm afraid of heights, and I was like, you know what? I will not be going into the high rise bars anytime soon. You know, just
Right.
my luck that I'm there and the glass breaks, and that's me.
Have
Not
you
doing
seen the thing? It's in Chicago, which I'm from Illinois, by the way, about an hour and a half outside the city. But I will also never be doing this. There's a place in a high rise in Chicago that they have it set up. It's like almost like a carnival ride where you go to the window and there's bars, people lined up, and there's bars to hold on to, and it leans out at like a 15-20 degree angle and
Yes,
leans you over the city. Fuck no, I would
never,
never in a billion.
never. Never, 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 bro. You got a certain kind of like, you like to get your rocks off in crazy. I don't know. Some people, I can find adrenaline in other ways. You know, like that
Right.
is just some stuff. I'm just
I was at a, I don't know where I was, maybe somewhere in Wisconsin. I was at a like a haunted house thing back in the day, and I've always said this was the scariest thing that I've ever had in a haunted house. It was like there's a balcony, and you walk out onto the balcony and you look down, and there was like a Frankenstein thing where it was like Frankenstein and the monster and all that. And you're supposed to look over at it, and the ledge that you're standing on drops. It like cuts off, and it's like on ropes, or where it just like drops a little bit, and it makes you feel like the floor is falling out from underneath
oh
you.
fuck that, bro.
Right? I was like, that was the
No,
scariest thing I've ever been in.
yeah.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Did you know? Right? So guy dies, falls out the window, he drops out of the window, waka waka, and then she ends up making it home, and the guy that was holding her son hostage and her sister hostage, when he takes off his mask, did you recognize him?
A little bit, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
He was the meter reader guy at the beginning. There's a guy that knocks at her window and says, "Hey, I gotta check your meter." Well, first of all, I have a front door. Don't come knocking at my window. It's the creepiest thing you could ever do. But that's who it was. It was that guy, which could have been a lot more clear.
Yeah, that's a bad part. I guess not bad part, but shout out to the movie. They did the job, because I went into this knowing that this was going to be one of those movies where you got to kind of examine everybody. Like the
Right.
camera does this on the rewatch. You're like, okay, they were showing certain things for a reason at the
Right.
beginning, and to their credit, I not only did I not remember he was a meter reader guy, but I really didn't get the vibes. It was the once the date left that one dude, I was like, mm. You know, because he seemed so fucking polite at the beginning, and she
Right.
stormed out of there. Like I was like,
Right.
like you said, I want to know what they were talking about. So it had to be something very heinous for her to react that way. So once that happened, I was like, he's kind of on my radar. But up until the reveal, I really was kind of like, or until they said, oh, you know what really was narrowed it down? I mean, they kind of were giving it to you. It was like, yeah, he's been staring at you all night. I was like,
Right.
yeah, he's the
Right.
culprit.
That was the reveal. And it did like a I don't know, sometimes you'll have that in these type of movies where it's like, "Oh shit, we're going to get the reveal." Like it
Hmm.
seemed like it came like a little bit earlier than it was supposed to, but it worked.
Yes.
I mean, it didn't drag on too much at the end after that.
You
Although
know
I
what?
will
Maybe
say I was most checked out after at the end where they get the little action adventure she's going to save the day was
going to
when
the
I was
house.
least interested in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Once I got to the house, bro, I was like, okay, like that's yeah. I maybe I was just gonna say maybe it's because we were expecting some giant reveal, but I think the way they handled the reveal was just kind of like a. It's I think in this type of movie it should be like this explosive, like oh shit.
Right.
They did just kind of like revealed it was him, kept playing the story along. They didn't leave you for any moments to like, oh my gosh, damn.
Right. And it
And
was
I don't
also
know.
because he was two things. He was a stranger to her
Hmm.
and the guy at her house, the meter reader guy, both strangers to her and not even connected to her really. They're more
Yeah,
connected to the
there's no
date who's not the main character. It's not Scream where it's like, "Oh my god, it's Billy,
this
it's my
emotional.
boyfriend and he's connected to my mom." These are all the things that made that work so well. It was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's all these things that like made it for so that we could write this movie, more or less, but didn't really tie in to
With
her
that,
personal
let
life."
me ask you: do you because you said earlier he almost directed it, but he didn't get it. Could you see him handling it now? Having seen Drop, do
Ye
you think he?
Yes, because like I was kind of saying earlier, is this is his most serious film, and
Yeah.
the one that's not. The other thing that we didn't mention is like most of the movies that we like that he's done, Happy Death Day 1 and 2, and then Freaky. There's a sci-fi element to it too, so that adds it's a whole another element of fun and
Yes.
things to play with. Seeing all that stripped away, he could, but I still don't know that he would be the best. I don't know. I could still see someone else doing it. But what do you think after seeing this
I
one?
I think he could like his. It's he's got the he can get he's got the slasher thing down. Like clearly that he's a fan
Right.
of that. But I think it was almost like could he do this without it being too James Gunny? You know, too many jokes that people. Yeah, I
Right.
love James Gunn, but I know that's a thing that people were trepidatious about with every film of his.
Mhm.
But this one showed that he can dial it back, and that doesn't have to be jokes every. Not that there's a lot of jokes in other movies, but
Right.
he can do a different. This one has the most Scream feel, I guess, even though
Mhm.
it's not a slasher. It's tonally it does do that little cat and mouse thing, where it's like with Scream, you're always trying to guess who's the killer, who's the
Right.
culprit.
Right.
I think he could the way he drugged that out in this movie, and I mean maybe it didn't feel the revelation didn't feel powerful because maybe it was like maybe they did drag it out a little bit. I don't know, but I think in Scream it will work really to his favor with him
Mhm.
keeping the air of mystery of who's the killer, red flag here, red flag there. It would lend itself, and he could it could take place over a course of days. Where this movie almost like worked against itself because everything is so
Right.
tight. It all takes place in a certain time frame. You have to
Right.
hit certain beat.
One
So I'm
spot,
wondering.
one little
Yeah,
small period of time. It does. It's
yeah,
super constraining. He mentioned Hitchcock, like Hitchcockian style in general, as an inspiration for this, and we covered Rope.
I can see that.
That's what
Yeah.
kind of made me think of Rope, all set in one
Oh,
spot, kind of a similar thing going on. Just a lot of tension building and whatnot.
this is
um, one other thing that I wanted to mention was they kind of a missed opportunity to a degree. They had this whole like thematic thing with her where, excuse me, where she was being abused by her husband or her ex-husband in the past, and that moment where he was pointing a gun at her infant child and she kind of froze and didn't do anything about it. And then she gets to the point at the end where she's going to save the day with her son, and she's on the ground, and the son puts the gun on his remote control car and delivers it to her. Cool, I liked that. That was cool.
Home
But
Alone.
why not play into that moment where now she's got a second opportunity to act to save her son, which I guess the whole
Not
movie
gonna.
is. The whole movie, I guess, is doing that. But they
Yeah.
kind of could have solidified it in like a more on the
This
nose kind of comparison to the failure of her past.
no, I get what you mean because it's like everything else was like I guess in the movie she is proving that, but you could also look at it. It's like the lead up to, it's like you're training yourself for it. When if you ever present it in this situation again, how are you going to react?
Right.
And I don't want to say she froze up when she got that moment to react again, but I'm curious as to how it would have played out if her son didn't do the Kevin McAllister bit.
Right.
Like
I mean, I bet from the writer's point of view, they're thinking, well, what do you mean? Like she at the beginning, she's got a gun pointed at her husband's head and can't pull the trigger. And
and
this
this
one, she gets
okay,
the gun and she takes care of it right away.
that's right.
But
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
I would have liked to see like the son's life being threatened and her not like
And her
almost
actually,
freeze and then step in and take care of it.
I no, yeah, because it was based off her core reaction, right? And it's like that would have just hit it home, like, oh yeah, her character has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the same person she was at the beginning of the film. Like instead of fight or flight, she chose freeze. And then this one, she's like, oh no, my son's life is at risk. Pop, pop, no questions asked.
Right.
Like yeah, I think that would have definitely driven it home and made it more powerful. Like this crazy couple hours she's just been through. Imagine the fucking stress of that really happening to you. But her
Mm-hmm.
fucking coming home and just that's what it be like. Yeah, she's on some Sarah Connor shit, for me. But is Verno doing a bit? I think he froze. Um, I wasn't expecting this. He should be back.
My
I will
back.
try
I'm
to.
kind of back.
Oh, you're here. You're here. Okay,
Yeah.
you're here. You're frozen again.
Da-da-doo. Am I
Yeah,
back?
I
Hey,
hear you. I
hey.
hear you. You're back. You're back.
At first, I'm like, oh shit, Link's frozen. I'm like, oh no, it's me. I'm frozen. But
I was like, I was like, I think he's doing a bit. No, no,
I
he's
thought you were
frozen.
doing the bit. I was like, he's at it again. All right. Before that happens, I don't know what it is. It's like as soon as the weather got hot here in Illinois, it's like I'm back to having like occasional internet issues. So hopefully, let's wrap this bitch up before it strikes again. We're about to head to the pool.
All right.
The child's over there pulling at my leg. She wants to go. So, boom, boom. Just last thing I wanted to say before we get up out of here is the text on screen. I actually thought that was handled well. I liked the look of it. Instead of us like getting constant looks at her phone and having to like watch the movie through her phone, so much of it, it was cool. Like just the font and the way it looked, even where it was like,
On
what
screen.
was it? It was almost like it was like high rise windows that were lit up as the font,
Yes,
right?
yes. Like it was, and sometimes I think even they would like if the back or the scenery or backdrop of the scenery allowed for it, they would like put the text on like just whatever was available. But
Right.
it was always easy to read and done in like clever ways. Like it seemed like
I
I
thought
don't
that
I
was
can't
cool.
remember. Yeah,
That
because
and even remember, like she's looking at she's in the bathroom stall and she's looking at her phone at the different video elements from her house, and those are showing up on the walls behind her. I thought that was
yeah,
really cool too.
it was unique because oftentimes when they do shit like this, they make you like I don't know, they make you really like zero in on something,
Hmm.
and like you're like, oh, what's that say on the tiny screen? But in this one, they went, others take note, other
Right.
directors. This is how you convey written messages.
I agree. It reminded me of The Shallows. They kind of did that to a degree in The Shallows with Blake Lively, where she was getting texts and they were popping up on the screen rather than you having to look at her phone. But they were just doing like the actual text
Basic.
message bubble and putting it on the screen, if I remember.
Okay.
But last thing I want to say before we rate this thing, Big Bad. Big Bad's the next Christopher Landon movie that he is supposedly going to do for Lionsgate, where it's a werewolf movie with a family trapped in a farmhouse under attack by werewolves. So that's another probably going to be blending a bunch of genres there,
Sounds
but
promising.
yeah, that's his next project, Big Bad.
I like
But
that.
where you at on where you at on it, dude? Out of five, anybody in the chat, if you've seen Drop, what'd you think of it out of five?
I'll I'll give this one. I was gonna say 3, but I'll give it a generous 3.5. Only it's a solid movie, but I solid cast, but I don't think this, like you said it perfectly earlier, where this is not one where you're gonna want to watch it a bunch of times back to
Right.
back, and it probably might ruin the experience a little bit doing
Yep.
that just a little bit.
Did you watch it
But
twice?
No, no, that's but
Okay,
I could tell like I was like this is a movie where you might it's fun time, but there I think this is it's not that as tight as we talk about the story being. I don't think the script is as thought out as and it's tight
right.
as it's
It's like
supposed to be.
it's not intricate enough
Yes,
to reward you for a rewatch.
yes,
Is what it
yes,
is.
well
It's
said.
one of the there's some movies where it's like I watch it, I'm like, "Ooh, I gotta watch that again before we review it. This one was just like I will watch that again, but I didn't
Yeah,
need to, and that's
yeah,
actually part of it is a credit to the movie. It's really easy to follow and understand and remember
entertaining.
the beats of the film because
Yeah,
everything is like crystal clear and never confusing. You're following along perfectly. You know what you're supposed to be feeling at all times in the movie. So
yes,
that's to
yes.
its credit, but still for whatever reason, also not rewatchable at the same time.
But I do applaud the director for trying something. We are big fans of his over here, but he stepped outside the box, and sometimes you might fumble a little bit stepping outside your comfort zone,
Hmm.
and I think he did that. But I think at the same time he also showed that he's not just a one trick pony. He's got other strengths that can be
Right.
played up, and
This was
I'm
his most adult film.
yes, yes,
You know what I
and
mean?
I think it's a good date film, but I this is not it's a good popcorn flick. It's entertaining at first watch, but I don't think this is something that you're gonna be clamoring this. You will
Right.
watch this again, like you said, but it's not. But I can't wait to watch that again.
Right.
Like that's yeah,
No,
it's
you
not.
said it. It's a good date movie. It's a good, you go to the movie, you see it. It was worth your price of admission. You're probably gonna have a good
Yes,
time on a date, but nothing too special. I'll go. You know what? You were between a 3 and you went to a 3.5. I'll go with a 3.25 because I feel like that's
respect.
somewhere in that area. We're both around the same area for it. So 3.25 from me and 3.5 from the missing link. And this coming up Thursday, we're doing a big one. One of the biggest, one of the biggest films in the history of horror. One of the most important films of fucking all time, even outside of the horror genre. This is
Yeah,
like one of the first, like most modern feeling horror movies, as old as you can go for a movie that still sound is a kind of modern feeling. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. It's the kickoff. Do I have this? Yes, I do. It's the kickoff to our Road to Halloween series going to be going. I didn't even realize how long I was making this thing when I made it. We're doing 8 weeks on this thing.
I'm
Eight
ready, bro.
weeks of the road to Halloween. Because at the end of this, after Deep Red, we'll actually be doing Halloween the first week of September, 1978's Halloween. And I'll just throw out there, I think I'm going to swap out the bird with the crystal plumage and do Dracula, Prince of Darkness, the
Okay.
third film in the Christopher Lee Dracula franchise. Because I figure
Okay.
we've got enough in Blood and Black Lace and Deep Red to kind of cover Italian giallo's influence on the slasher. And Dracula, Prince of Darkness is the one movie that people will be like, "What the fuck is that doing on the list?" But when we watch it, I think we'll all get like, okay, like it is. You can see some of the future slasher tropes that are being developed in the monster movies that Hammer
What
Horror
year
was
did
doing. I
the
think it's like
first?
66. Prince of Darkness?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
66. And Blood
All
and
right.
Black Lace is a murder mystery Italian giallo from 65 that we'll be doing before that. So I figure that'll be a nice little bridge to fill in the gap. When we watch it, I think you'll see there's like a silent like Dracula in the movie is kind of like Michael Myers and Jason esque, where he doesn't really
Ooh.
talk, he just menaces and he's like a monster, and just there's a lot of things about it. But dun, 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 dun. But hell yeah, man, Psycho next week, man, next Thursday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. You got anything special going on? You doing a PCP this week?
Oh yes, to later on tonight. Covering Blade 2 over at Robbie's for action
Tonight?
slash.
On Sunday?
Yeah, he's doing
Oh, okay.
Raw. I know he's going somewhere tomorrow, but
Okay, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I almost forgot about it. I was like, oh man, but yeah, Blade 2 tonight. Talking about that Wesley Snipes classic.
Hell yeah.
If he
Hell
would have
yeah,
made a
man.
third one,
Hell
or even first one.
yeah. All right, I love it, man. Again, appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you're subbed up, all that good stuff. And we will see you on Thursday for Psycho.